congratulations on your presentation, super interesting, obviously an amazing result, we were all delighted. Just a very quick question about, I know there's been some criticism.
Sorry, I don't think the mic is
Oh,
on.
sorry, okay, that works.
Okay.
It's a bit loud, sorry. There's been some talk about the fact that some areas of the migrant community felt a bit excluded from the Ailbhe campaign, and also now in the situation where migrants are still quite often forced to, because of all the restrictions, maybe travel abroad, and that it's much difficult for them because of visa issues and stuff like that, and also they felt that maybe it wasn't as inclusionary as it could have been, the Repeal the Ailbhe campaign. I don't know if you have any thoughts around that. Thanks very much.
Okay, we'll take one more question. Yes, a microphone there. Just wait, because we're live streaming this, we want everybody to hear.
Hi.
And please go straight to the question. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you very much to both the speakers. That was really interesting. I just have one question. So for Dr. Ailbhe, especially on the topic of contraception, I mean, you have done amazing work with the campaign, and it's great to see how Ireland has really progressed to that. And I just wanted to know your thoughts on contraception, given that we gave so much campaign and effort towards abortion. And I felt and also thoughts of other healthcare workers, is that contraception has been neglected, in that it has not been given the same attention, which is actually, it actually could prevent such adversities and emotional stress, as well as save on healthcare costs as well. So just wanted to know your opinions on that, or what do you think could be, again, a way forward for Ireland? Thank you.
Okay. Maybe we take one question for Ifrah, or two.
Thank you both very much. So, what would you advise other developing countries? Because FGM, it's great, it's moving, it's progressing in a positive way in Somalia, but there are other African countries. What would you advocate for those other countries as well?
Okay. Any other questions? Another question for Ifrah? Yes. At the back. Jane, maybe we bring a microphone here.
Thank you for the wonderful session, both of you. My question to Ifrah is, how much of a hindrance do you think religion played in your work in Somalia or other places?
Okay. So, do you want to start, Ailbhe?
Okay, fine. Is it on? Yes?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for the questions. Just to take the one about the inclusivity or otherwise of the Together for Yes campaign. Obviously, as the name indicates, the intention, the hope and the aspiration of the campaign was to be absolutely, not so much inclusive as actually open. So we did set up a platform for groups and organisations to, partly so that they could keep up to date with what the campaign was doing, but also to encourage those organisations and groups, and that included migrant groups, to undertake their own activities, because there was no way that our campaign could do everything. And I think that needed, frankly, more work. And that was in retrospect. I think it definitely could have had more work, and we could have paid closer attention to, there were 2 or 3 groups who I think really didn't actually could have done with more support and could have done more work. I mean, I'm very, that's to say, yes, if we were doing it again, we would put more support in. These campaigns are short, they're difficult, you do what you can, but that's recognised, I think, and acknowledged. It is very worrying to discover that migrant women are still having difficulties, and that's not surprising, because service provision is still, it's deeply disturbing, but it's not that surprising, because service provision is still really at a low base. We're kind of moving this great big ocean liner around like the Titanic or something, to, from abortion being prohibited to it being legal. But it's inevitable that it is all those who are most marginalised and most vulnerable will have most difficulties with access. And I can only say I'm not involved directly in any kind of service provision at all, but I do know that the organisations and also people like Doctors for Choice and Staff Doctors are trying to work very hard on that. But fundamentally, we have to change our whole policy, and that's the fundamental attitudes towards people who come to live and work in this country. And that means starting off with getting rid of direct provision, which should be a policy. That work now, at this point, certainly from my point of view, is being extremely important. The second question, which was about contraception, I completely agree with you. If contraception were globally, not just in Ireland, if it had had the kind of funding and research and so on put into it that building rockets has had, for example, we wouldn't have so many problems. So we were promised by the Minister for Health, Simon Harris, at the time of the Joint Oireachtas Committee, that free contraception would be made available. And that I understand that is still on the agenda. I'm worrying, is it going to get onto the statute books before the next election? If it doesn't, I can assure you that everybody who is involved in repeal will continue to lobby for it. And personally, I was just tweeting about it the other day, saying, why are we still waiting for the free contraception? But I also want to say to you that there was a lot of pious talk about, oh, well, of course, contraception is really important. And it was generally from people who fundamentally did not want that freedom to access abortion when it was necessary to be available to women. So absolutely yes, contraception should be free for everybody worldwide. It is not rocket science to understand that. But at the same time, we will continue to need to have the possibility of abortion because things go wrong in people's lives, and that's why we need it.
First question about other African countries. So yes, we do work with other countries in Africa. We have a big sister movement which we landed in Ireland actually, and it's 7 countries in Africa. And our goal is to learn from other countries and see what other countries have done in terms of legislation on FGM and how FGM is practiced in their own countries. We work with the Global Media Campaign, who is doing really great work grassroots for media and religion training. So at the moment they're in Mali and they're doing really good work with the religious leaders and the media. So we exchange the experience around the countries in Africa. And I visit a lot of countries. Mostly I really wanted to go to Nigeria, which I haven't been before, but we've been to other African countries for knowledge exchange. And because those other African countries, like Kenya, they have FGM legislation. And again, now Somalia, they are taking the FGM bill and they're starting from Kenya. So I presume that Kenya have a good legislation and see how that will lead us. But still, the FGM is practiced. And the second question is about the religious leaders. I remember first time when I went back to Somalia, just dressed like this and working with the religious leaders, they could actually say to me, go back to your country, and I asked myself, where am I belong to, if I'm actually not belong to Somalia and not an island. So I feel that I was in between, but we adopted my own culture and just being as one of them, just covering myself and, dressed like them and, talking to them and becoming friendly. And I always believe the religious leaders are one of the main people who can make a difference. Like example, if I go on national TV, one of the religious guys, people will listen to him, they wouldn't listen to me because one, I'm a woman. Second, they will say, why is she actually talking about? But when the religious man is talking about the reality of FGM in Islam, what it says is different. So I always give the respect back to the religious leaders, and they've been really keen to support on our campaign, especially on Ifrah Foundation and the Global Media Campaign. We have done 3 different academic religious leaders training, so the religious leaders can become the voice of the community. And during the celebration of Islam, like Eid time and before the Ramadan and all that, we invite the religious leaders on national TV to speak out on female genital mutilation, and it's been great. And believe it or not, it was very hard someone like me to have a debate on live on VOA with one of the religious leaders, and inviting all the religious leaders with respect and saying, look, you are our voice, and just be the voice, and please help us to end the FGM. So I respect them, and they do respect me on how I